Welcome to Operation Healing Heroes. Join me in beautiful Oklahoma as we feature World War II and U.S. Army veteran Bill Parker.
They served for us. They sacrificed for us. Their stories deserve to be told. Every military veteran has a story to tell. Join our host, Jay Garstecki, as we honor the stories of our true American heroes, one soldier at a time. The mission today is Operation Healing Heroes. Brought to you by Great Clips. Oklahoma. It's known for its cowboy culture and Native American history. It's here where 97-year-old lifelong cowboy and World War II veteran Bill Parker shares his memories of being the very first man to reach the beaches of Normandy on D-Day, June 6, 1944.
Well, I was born in Torrance, California, November the 1st, 1924. And I was born William Norman Parker. And my dad stepped up and said, the boy's name is Bill, born to cowboy, be a cowboy, and he'll die a cowboy. And that's about what I've done. Of course, they brought me back to Oklahoma when I was about 2 years old. Dad was on the way back to California because he got broke again. Next thing I remember, though, I was on the way to California in the back of an old Dodge touring car that didn't have any windows. Me and my oldest brother was in the back seat. Going to New Mexico, why I fell out.
Fell out of the car?
Fell out of the car. Of course, there's old dirt roads, you know, and all. Got on down the road 2 or 3 miles before they missed me. Mama, she told me this story. Said she looked back and I was gone, and she asked Jim, said, "Where's your brother?" He said, "Oh, he fell out. I think he pushed me." But anyway, why, they did turn around and went back hunting me. Found me at an Indian deal where they sold stuff along the road, you know, and said this Indian woman had me just rocking me and said, "You act like you was enjoying it." So said, she asked her, said, "What was you going to do with him if I hadn't come back?" Oh, she said, "I was going to keep him." Well, I liked to have been a Rapiho Indian instead of a little bit of a Choctaw. But anyway, we went on to California. He worked till he made enough money to come back to Oklahoma. Of course, first thing Dad done with me was every time he looked to go to front of his cows, why, he set me up in front of his saddle and took me with him, you know. He made a cowboy out of me whether I wanted to or not.
Cowboying was a way of life for Bill, and being a professional bull rider was a dream.
So I understand you used to ride bulls for $1.
Yeah, I was rich.
You were rich, huh?
I'd ride a bull in the bronc every Friday night, go back Saturday night and ride 2 more. They had it Sunday, I'd go back, have $6. Man, I had more money than any kid in the country.
So all their kids were out trying to get driver's licenses, you were out trying to ride bulls.
Yeah, well,
Making money.
war hadn't come along, well, I'd have been a professional bull rider.
Operation Healing Heroes is brought to you by Great Clips, Winnebago, and by RECON Boats.
Operation Healing Heroes is a nonprofit organization dedicated to documenting the lives of our U.S. military veterans. In addition, we also provide financial support and treatment for post-traumatic stress. Your donation will help heal our heroes. Talk to me about your wife, about Colleen. How did you meet your wife?
Well, that's another story. We run our cattle in the mountains way back about 10 miles from where we lived during the summer, and my job was to see about them cows all the time.
On horseback, Bill would ride into the mountains to check on the family's cattle.
Come out of the mountains on the other side, and this girl was standing at the mailbox getting her mail. Prettiest girl I'd ever seen. And I just rode up her horseback, talked to her. The rest of that summer, I couldn't get her off my mind. Every time I went to see about them cows, I come back by there, but she never was at the mailbox. I was too bashful, you know, at 16 to go up and ask for a drink of water or something. Anyway, that fall, all them little schools had pie suppers. I told my mother, I said, I'm going to Rosedale to pie supper. Well, then she asked me about money. And I said, well, I ain't got any money. She said, go get some off your daddy. Well, that was like getting it out of the mint, you know.
Yeah.
And anytime I saddled a horse, why, he'd come out to see which way I was going. He fumbled around in his pocket and found a quarter. Give me that quarter. I went on to the pie supper and got over there. I asked the girls, because I knew her name, you know, what her pie was, and they showed me. Them pies was bringing 10 and 15 cents a piece. I had to give that whole quarter for her pie. Best quarter I ever spent in my life. We had to eat the pie together, you know,
Yeah.
and we did, her and her friends. And then all them girls walked down the roads, you know, country girls walked down the road together. I just rode up beside of her and stepped off my horse like a gonna tie a calf and got her by the hand. She never jerked loose. I had her 73 years.
Wow.
Anyway, all them 18-year-olds that had a girlfriend was getting married, you know, and we wanted to, but I told her, I said, no, I'm either going to France or Germany one, and I don't want you to be a widow at 19. And she waited on me till I got back.
Bill would board a ship in the New York harbor, bound for England, to begin training for the invasion of France.
It was the Queen Elizabeth, sister ship to Queen Mary. That's what they took me across on. Then we began training for the invasion. We got into them landing crafts, and they had a beach around there they called Slapped in the Sands, and that's where we done our training. We'd run at that beach every day, and they'd let that thing down, and we'd fight the enemy up there on the bank, which wasn't there, you know. But anyway, they took us and put us on this big ship, you know, and they got us up real early the next morning and fed us beans for breakfast. That's the worst thing happened to me all the time I was gone. Just beans. I didn't think that was very good.
No.
And then, of course, we had to come down them, well, we call them rope ladders, but there's like big nets, you know, bunch of people coming down at the same time. But we all got loaded. I was leader of the wire cutters, Seth. Had to go first to cut the wire so the rest of them could get through, you know.
Bill was the first man out and the first man to reach the shore.
We got out in water about waist deep.
Operation Healing Heroes is brought to you by Power Pole, Wiley X, and by RECON Boats.
You've been riding horses since you were what? How old?
Since I could sit on that saddle horn in front of my daddy.
Good boy. If you'd like to see more behind-the-scenes footage, follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're a U.S. military veteran in Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, Minnesota, or beautiful sunny Florida, log on to our website, takeavetfishing.org, to find an event near you.
We got out in water about waist deep. All shells hitting everywhere, you know. And being in front, why, I went across the beach with a machine gun hitting the ground right in front of me, just kicking up dirt. And was loaded. We couldn't run any faster than we was going. And we couldn't go back because there wasn't nothing but water, you know. And the machine gun was still shooting out of the pillboxes, but and we shot everything we had at the little old hole trying to knock him out, but we couldn't. And we didn't have nothing but a few hand grenades, and we'd throw them at that hole, and it hadn't done any good.
In the first 30 minutes of the invasion, the 116th Infantry lost 96% of their men.
I heard later then that Navy man out in the ocean said he had orders to shoot way over our heads and was doing that. He ordered them ships in close to shore as they could get and shot directly over our heads. They wasn't any higher than 8 foot above us.
Wow.
You could hear them big shells coming. They just like one freight train after another, you know. And they knocked the pillboxes out. So that turned the invasion loose. I give the Navy credit for saving it. I don't guess it go down in history that way, but that's what I think about it.
I mean, do you remember what you were thinking as that thing was going down and you were going out onto that beach?
No, I didn't. I guess we had so much training that all we were doing was doing what we'd done.
What you were trained, yeah.
Because I hear them fellas telling about how scared they were or something. I wasn't scared.
No?
I wasn't because I didn't have sense enough to be scared. I think his training had
kicked
all I could do was think about getting across it.
Bill would fight his way inland and survive the first night.
Dark come, why they asked me, said, what are we going to do now? And I said, well, I'm going to stay right here till daylight. When daylight come, why, we were nearly all out of ammunition. We'd shot everything. I knew all those dead men had ammunition. I went back to the beach, and I'm not going to tell you that I got it off of them because my mind won't let me remember that. But I did get ammunition. That's the first I'd seen of the beach, was the next morning. And there was dead men everywhere. There's just dead men everywhere you look. The water was even red along the edges.
So you fought for 2 years from D-Day until the surrender of Germany?
Yeah. I got a deal from 29th Division after I got home. Said I walked 600 miles in 2 years.
The Liberty Jump Team seeks to preserve the memories of our military veterans. They are dedicated to helping World War II veterans return to Europe and the battlefields they fought on at no cost to the veteran.
If you'd like to personally thank a veteran that you've seen in one of our episodes or nominate a veteran to be featured in a future episode, log on to our website, operationhealingheroes.org.
Operation Healing Heroes is brought to you by RECON Boats, Excel Automotive, and by Temple Bay Lodge.
Do you remember when the war ended, like how you found out about it?
I think I found out about it by German soldiers giving up
Yeah.
in wads, just bunches.
With the Germans surrendering and the liberation of France complete, the war was over.
As soon as I got back home then, I went to see her, and we just picked up right where we'd left off, you know. We got married December the 12th of that same year.
Bill would lose his beloved Colleen in the spring of 2018 after 73 years of marriage.
Well, that's quite the headstone.
Mm-hmm.
How often do you come see her?
Nearly every time I pass here, but she'd appreciate all you're doing for me.
Yeah.
One thing about her, she took care of me and made a lot better human out of me. Yeah, nobody had a better life than we had.
After you got back from the war, I understand that there was some combat fatigue and some nightmares, and how long did that last?
Lasted up till I went back and saw the beach. Colleen used to wake me up at night, you know, when I'd have one of these spells. And she'd tell me the war's over.
Yeah.
Now you're home now, and I think now I realize it.
The dusty plains of Oklahoma are a long way from the beaches of Normandy, France. But after returning to Omaha Beach, Bill Parker slept through the night for the first time in 78 years without dreaming of dead men on the beach.
I just stood there and watched the ocean and cried just a little by looking at it, because I could see all them dead men, you know, in my mind, trying to get it out of my head.
Mm-hmm.
But then the next day, when we went back the beach down below that a little, saw them little kids playing on it, and with their little toys, and their little dogs that followed them, and other little kids swimming in the ocean right at the side, you know. All these kids are playing. Well, that's what I see. So far, I haven't even dreamed about the ocean, much less
Good.
what's on it.
Bill Parker received 2 Purple Hearts and the Bronze Star of Valor. And in 2022, he received the French Legion Medal of Honor for extreme bravery. Now, at 98 years young, Bill spends his days riding horses and living the life of a cowboy.
So you've been riding horses since you were maybe 2 years old, right? So 95 years you've been riding horses, and you're still riding horses today.
Yeah.
He comes over every night and rides, and his truck was here, and I told Dad, I said, well, his truck's here, you know, and, well, he got to be there somewhere. Well, I thought maybe he got knocked down or something, and so we go to looking, and my dad gets home, and he comes riding up out of the pasture. It's dark. I mean, it's 10:30. And I said, well, what are you doing? I'm riding. And I said, there's better horses to ride. And of course, his deal was, well, this one needs it the most, you know. The mothers are already know what they're doing. You know, he'll come over every evening and still helps us feed and water and turns the calves out. You know, he's taught me just everything that I know about horses and roping.
Everything he's done, he's want to come out first. He took that after me. In the invasion of France and all, I come out first.
Well, I certainly appreciate you taking the time to share your story with us, and I wanted to be able to give you a little something to remember us by, and so we got you your own shirt here, and it says Bill Parker on the front,
Oh, my goodness.
and it's got Parker on the back,
Yeah.
and it's commemorating you with the Operation Healing Heroes, and I want to give that to you and say thank you very much.
Well,
Thank you for your service.
And thank all of you.
Well, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, I wanted to give this to you. And this is your very own
Oh, my God.
Operation Healing Heroes belt buckle, and I'll read it to you. It says, Bill Parker, World War II veteran, has our logo on there, and it has the U.S. Army on there. And that's a belt buckle for you, and just said thank you so much for taking me riding and teaching me about horses, and I just absolutely love it. So I can't say thank you enough.
That's nice.
You like that?
Yeah, I like that.
Well, thank you for sharing your experience with me, and thank you for all you did. I mean, There's a reason they call you the greatest generation, and you provided our freedom and you provided all of this to us. And I can't say thank you enough for that. Thank you.
I done just what I had to do.
If you'd like to personally thank a veteran that you've seen in one of our episodes, or nominate a veteran to be featured in a future episode, log on to our website, operationhealingheroes.org.